and competitive region to receive foreign investment, given its capabilities, abundant natural and cultural resources, and competence for international technical cooperation. But this is, of course, for the specialist to tell you. So without further ado, I would like to invite Adam Patterson to start our seminar. Adam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Vera. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Bom dia here in Brazil. Hello, happy Friday and happy St. George's Day for everyone watching. Thanks for tuning in. As Vera mentioned, we have some excellent content in today's webinar, so I will be very brief here in my introduction. Firstly, just to highlight some housekeeping rules. Please feel free to shoot over questions on the chat. The idea is to have some time at the end of the presentation for the speakers to respond, and also for any questions that are not answered in the time. I'm sure the relevant teams will follow up afterwards. Moving on, first things first, I'd like to thank Vera, the chair of the Brazilian Chamber of Commerce of Great Britain, based in London, for opening today's webinar. And a special thank you as well to the home Brazilian Chamber team for all the help and supporting putting together this event behind the scenes. The Brazilian Chamber of Commerce has been working to promote bilateral trade and strengthen business links between Brazil and the United Kingdom for almost 80 years now, and it's always a pleasure to work together. And I'm also extremely looking forward to penciling a follow-up visit to you guys in London when things get back to normal. Many thanks as well to Invest Parana, the government trade and investment promotion agency in Parana State, for the support and partnership in organising one more top-notch event together. A particular hat tip to Isabella as well for the support. The agency, linked to the State Secretariat for Sustainable Development and Tourism, is one of the first points of call to discuss international investment projects and potential fiscal benefits in the state, and works closely with local city halls to help drive forward economic development, investment and tourism. The last 12 months or so have, of course, been crazy and challenging, right? But I suppose one of the only positives has been the opportunities for virtual events like these and the potential to help unlock global partnerships with greater connectivity and engagement as never before. The theme of today's talk, promoted by Invest Parana and in partnership with the Brazilian Chamber, is around the trade and investment opportunities for UK-based organisations in Parana State. Very quickly, Parana is actually larger than England and home to more than 12 million people. As Vera mentioned as well, it's one of the richest states in Brazil, has the 5th largest GDP, and has been voted the 2nd most competitive state in the country, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit. It's also one of the leading industrial and automotive hubs, and by far one of Brazil's top agricultural producers. Moreover, looking through a historical lens, I would also say that the state has one of the most extensive, if less well known perhaps, historical connections with the UK amongst the Brazilian states. We've had British immigration starting from the 1850s. We had a British consulate since 1905, which is one of the first regional states to do so. And Curitiba even had an English mayor in the 1920s. There's also the fantastic story of a British investment and colonization company called Parana Plantations, which in the 1920s directly bought from state government a large territory in the north of the state, larger than Wales, in fact, to help industrialize and develop, building out a lot of the local infrastructure, which is still here, including trains, lighthouses, bridges, industrial plants, and a lot of farming assets. Over the life of the company, it ended up founding around 60 cities, which today represent around 16% of all the municipalities in Parana. Now, events like today's, which aim to strengthen trade and investment flows and bilateral dialogue, especially at the regional level, looking at individual states in the huge continental country that is Brazil, are exciting, important in the new post-Brexit future. The UK-Brazil relationship will be increasingly important. Indeed, the last few years have seen upticks in both trade and investment, and it's clear that the country is already a strong economic partners with over 800 British companies currently operating in Brazil and well over 100 Brazilian companies active in the UK. Total trade between the countries, including imports and exports, goods and services, stood at around £6 billion last year. Furthermore, British exports to Brazil have grown by around 200% over the last 15 years. And just in the 3-year period after the Brexit referendum, exports have grown 40%. The UK is one of Brazil's largest investment partners, with total FDI over the last 20 years at around 22 billion. And if we include all investment flows from both the UK and British overseas territories, that amount almost triples. Looking more specifically here in Parana State, total trade in just industrial goods has averaged around $300 million since 2017. Parana is the fourth largest importer of British goods, and local firms are increasingly seeing the UK as a hub for global expansion. British firms are also active here in investment in M&A operations, acquiring medium-sized companies. To sum up then, there is huge potential for UK companies and investors to explore opportunities here in Parana, which is why I'm delighted to help introduce and curate today's webinar, which I believe is the first Parana-focused event with the Brazilian Chamber. Let us do more going forward. I think on that note, I will give the floor to our first speaker so we can kick off today's talk. I would like to welcome José Eduardo Bekin, the CEO of Invest Parana, who has a degree in Business and Foreign Trade, an MBA in Entrepreneurship from FGV, and postgraduate study in Political Marketing from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. He currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Invest Parana since 2019, the agency which, according to the Financial Times, is the best strategy for attracting investments in South America. José, great to have you with us. A palavra é tua, the floor is yours.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks, Paul, for the words. I would like to welcome to everyone to this webinar and greet Miss Vera, Ines, and Paul again. Thanks for the words, for the numbers, for the figures you talk about Paraná. Paraná is one of the best places, one of the best states to invest here in Brazil. And I have a big problem now with another meeting, and I introduced Giancarlo Rocco to speak to everyone, to talk about the benefits, to talk about the figures of Paraná, because we know we had 2 bad years, but we are looking good for the futures here in Paraná. Jean?
Let me give the floor to Giancarlo then. Thank you very much for those words, José Bekin. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. I will then hand over the baton to Giancarlo Rocco, the Director of International and Institutional Relations at Invest Parana, and also a keen parachutist, right, Giancarlo? Giancarlo is an architect and urban planner and holds postgraduate degrees in construction management and in banking, investment and finance from Brazil's Catholic University. He's currently responsible for structuring new businesses and project management at Invest Parana, where he has worked since the beginning of 2019. Giancarlo, excellent to have you here with us. I'll switch off my microphone. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bekin. Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you, Chamber, for inviting us for this webinar and to show the opportunities from Paraná. I would like to start here to show a short video of Paraná that shows a little bit more. There's a glance and the overview of our state.
Parana, state with a strong economy, an investment accelerator. Its GDP is larger than those of Uruguay, Bolivia, and Paraguay added together. Its population exceeds that of countries like Portugal and Sweden, and is already leading in the southern region. Parana is a world reference in agribusiness and high technology on the fields. With little over 2% of the national territory, the state answers for 17% of the grain harvested and has the highest productivity in the country per square meter planted. These and many other forms of wealth are moved on railroads and roads that comprise the integration ring. with works in duplication that progress, connecting the main production regions in less time and with more safety. Parana has 7 airports with regular commercial flights and a further 33 for executive and agricultural aviation, automotive OEMs, computers, equipment, food and beverage industries. The industrial park with the state-of-the-art technology is one of the most diversified in the country. Its companies are recognized for their high levels of efficiency. Copel, Parana Power Utility Company, is present in 10 states in Brazil and has 42 generation plants with different energy matrices. Traded in the main stock exchanges, has level 1 in corporate governance. Adding the production of Itaipu Binational, Parana has the largest power generation in Brazil. Copel Telecom has optic fiber coverage for 100% of the territory of the state. Compagas has gas delivery main system with 824 kilometers. Sanipar, considered the best sanitation company in the South and the second best in the country, is projecting investments of over 7 billion reais in the next 4 years. And in order to promote credit, development, and enterprising mindset, Fomento Parana. Parana is the best link between the Mercosur and the Brazilian Southeast region. In a radius of 1,500 kilometers, there is a GDP of around 1.3 trillion US dollars. Parana, Brazil, and Mercosur countries count with the port of Paranaguá, the country's largest grain exporter terminal, and the second in general freight movement. The main cities in Parana offer structure and quality of life for Brazilians and foreigners. They are ranked among the first positions in HDI and security rates. Parana is a powerful hub of innovation and technology. There are 7 state universities with their several campi. Test labs, startups, technological development, and entrepreneurship also graduate and qualify professionals in Parana. The government of Parana is moving to enhance partnerships, moving fast to progress with national and global investors. There are opportunities in the area of construction, management and administration of roads, railways, capacity increases in port terminals, as well as in the area of biotechnology, innovation, industry, and energy. There is space, legal support, and security for those who believe in their strength and potential. Parana, state that progresses, state partner of those who generate employment.
So, that being shown, I can also say and complement that even in this pandemic time, Parana has attracted a good number of investments, and we are seeking to do more. And that's why I want to show another presentation with some of our numbers and opportunities that we have here now. I also like to, before to start this, thank everyone, the other members of the government and companies that provided this content to show the opportunities here in Parana. I will start with our Parana State Energy Company, Copel. The overview of Copel, the company is an integrated company with more than 66 years in the industry and operating in more than 10 states. With hydroelectric power plant, wind power plant, transmission line, substation, and distribution line. The overview of the company, are trading, generation, transmission, and distribution. Copel, the best energy in Brazil. They have reliability in power supply, 6.6% share market share, and they have constant investment in operational improvement. Already with 7 awards, the company in customers best distribution since 2011 among Brazilian Association Energy Distribution Companies. And here on the right, there's some numbers. Adjusted the EBITDA, more than $253 million. Here, the investment policy of Copel, that what they are seeking of investments and projects Copel are looking for. In renewable projects, wind, solar, and hydroelectric sources, preferably operational brownfields. And the minimum investment size for these projects are wind projects. They're seeking for a minimum of 150 megawatts, solar projects a minimum of 100, as well of hydroelectric projects. Each of these projects has certain rules, and we're glad to connect the new business area of the company for further questions at the end, and we'll share their contacts. I also want to say that Copel is an integrated energy company operating 10 more Brazilian states in the areas that I've said already, and the priority in Parana is in Parana, but projects that synergistically to add Copel corporate footprint are most competitive to the organization. And what kind of partners does Copel seek? Both strategic energy partners and financial partners. The priority in partnership is to control the business societally. That guarantees a standard of Copel operations and assets to allow them to consolidate these assets in their balance sheets. The market value of Copel is more than $3.3 billion on B3. They are in 3 main stock markets in the world: Brazil, New York, and Latvex, the European Union. And here, just the EBITDA, the whole company of Copel, about $886 million. Copel Telecom, that has been privatized in November 2020 with a value of $430 million and of the AGU of $180 million. That exceeded expectations. The company growth in the free market, you can see since 2017, the final clients and sales has significantly increased. Here in 2021, the numbers: 12% of the special consumer market, 7% of the final consumer market, 6% of free consumer market, and 3% of energy traded in ACL. Another company that we have is the state sanitation company, Sanepar. Some numbers of water and sewage: 100% of water supply system coverage and 100% of treatment collected sewage, presented in more than 346 municipalities. The urban solid waste, they have 100% urban population coverage, more than 65,000 tons per year urban solid waste treatments, and 3 sanitary landfills. The assets of the company are 168 water treatment plants, 255 sewage treatment plants, 1,100 wells, 3 sanitary landfills, 4 reservoirs, and 1 biogas plant. And the investments within 5 years are the total of $1.5 billion. Great investments in sanitation here in our state. I want to talk about infrastructure, one of the main and largest investments that Parana and the opportunities that we have for investors here. Our Parana port is in the first in efficiency among the other country ports. They have moved more than 10,000 tons per linear meter of quay, 57 million tons moved in 2020, and they have planned 250 million investments in new leases, divided in 6 new areas of investment partnership program. On the left, we have the location of our ports, and the load projection here for the next 20 years. We have, and since 2010 and to 2030, we now have around 58,000 tons, and will be increased to 80,000 tons. Railways. The government project and proposals for concessions and public-private partnership coordination. The new railway here in Paraná, that represents 3% of the GDP in Brazil, impacted 577 cities, 9 million population benefited. The numbers of export-import volume are 24 million tons per year and 35 tons per year in train cargo. The concession is 60 years to support the economic growth. To improve productivity, we have 25.7% expected average on logistics saving, $13 ton on logistics saving, and railway share at the port expected 16%, which now today is at 19. And the transit time reduction expected, it's 20 hours, which today it's 100. So it's a significant number reduction. And the project is driven by social environment requirements. They're qualified in PPI, and it's the second largest exporter grains in containers by load volume. Here's the new corridor of Ferroeste, which will go from Paranaguá to Mato Grosso, Maracaju, and some other links in Mato Grosso. The existing Ferroeste and railway, here you can see in the middle, and Ferroeste here, and future railway sections on the dots. The extension of the new Ferroeste will be more than 1,300 kilometers. The load will be about 40 million tons and more than $4 billion in investment. And the highlight here in this project is a green logistics solution. We will have reduction of accidents, effective fishbone, reduction of emissions, improving of urban mobility, and it's eligible asset for green bonds issuance. A cargo handling of New Ferroeste from year 0 to year 60 will increase from 35 million tons to 72 million tons. It's a good double here number. And the biggest bidding for highways in Brazil is state and federal highways concession. Here, the concession, current highway concession that we have, it's 2,500 kilometers. We'll jump here and next year to 3,300 kilometers, divided in 6 lots. We'll have these 6 bid lots, the numbers of around 42 toll places, and more than 14 million annual average daily traffic for the next 30 years. The numbers of OPEX is $6.5 billion, and then the CAPEX $8 billion, around $8 billion. The main premises on these concessions are warranty works, urban traffic organization, arbitration, compliance, IRAP, DUF, capacity expansion on the 10th grade, outline of the main cities, arbitration chamber and dispute board, transparency and publicity, a greater safety and fair fare. Here I want to talk about BRDE, which is our development bank of the southern here in Brazil. The long-term loans that they do is divided on these sectors. They have the full rate of 0.32%. Here on the right is the ratings that I have. More than 33,000 active clients, 550 million net equity, 2.95 billion on assets, and 242 billion on balance operations. The operational highlights contracts in 2020, based here on SDOs. They have renewable energy, micro and small companies, Recupera Sul, which is a program during the period of the pandemic. They helped more than 1,060 companies with more than $93 million on loans and investments. They have BRD Labs, which helped more than 32 startups to accelerate municipalities, more than 55 millions, which is increase of 92% relations to 2019. And the external resources that I have, it's $47 million, also an increase of 93% over the previous year. And also on the tourism, they have a general tourism fund, which counts now with $31 million. That is 225 higher than 2019. It's the biggest, largest resource transfer in Brazil. And the opportunities that they're seeking here is to become a funding partner for on-lending operations, the investments co-finance, partnership for projects in agribusiness innovation and sustainability, and the bank can provide project analysis and structuring service for investments in Brazil, which is very important for us, especially here in Invest Parana, that every time the investors want to finance a project, this is the differential service on the operation that they're looking for. The last part of the presentation, I want to talk about tourism, which our governor is wants in this on his program wants to have Paraná to become the largest numbers of visitors here in Brazil. Most visited national parks in Brazil. And the numbers for 2019, before the pandemic, we had almost the same number as the park in Rio de Janeiro. And our expectation is to surpass this number for the next few years. And here are some of the investors that have already believed in Paraná to become a land to investments and finance their projects. I want to thank you everyone for having us here. I would like to pass the words to Adam again, and we have our partners to respond further questions.
Thank you very much, Giancarlo. Great stuff. I think very interesting, the sheer breadth of opportunities and investment going on in the state, from waste treatment to agro to infrastructure, and especially interesting the opportunities for green finance, leveraging the sustainable DNA of the state, right? Before I check out questions from the audience, I just wonder if you could give us a bit more of an overview for any organizations and investors watching from the UK, how they could potentially find out a bit more on specific projects and how they go about accessing advice from Invest Parana going forward.
Okay. They can talk to us on our website, investparana.org.br. The contacts will share with us, with everyone that's watching. And we are glad to connect the investors with the companies and the opportunities that we have. All this presentation will also be shared with you, and we will be available for questions and to contact the investors here with the public sector and the private sector. Some other companies also that will be and can be strategic on their plan.
Excellent stuff. I believe the Invest Partner team has sent over instructions on how to access the site with contact information. I just the last question before I check out the Q&A here in the chat. I wonder if you could just cite any recent success cases of global companies investing in Parana. Just talk us through that, tell us a bit more information, just so people can get a bit of a handle on some of the recent success cases here.
Right. We have some the sectors, the main priority sectors that we have investment here, since the agribusiness, which is the main matrix of Paraná. We have the malt investment from our cooperatives, 1.5 billion reais this year. Last year we have Heineken with a good investment here also, that we spoke to them and helped them to structure this plan here. Also, the flight companies that we have in Brazil, we help them and the Paraná government to increase the regional airports with flights just before the pandemic, and we increased to 40 regional airports that were deactivated, and we activated the operations. So all of this makes Paraná a good land and a good investment opportunity for these foreign or Brazilian investors.
Excellent stuff. Last question from my side. You talked a lot about green finance, green bonds, and what have you, which I thought were extremely interesting. How do you think global organizations, or in this case, British organizations, can work together with the state in this type of investment and opportunities?
Okay, Copel is a great entrance for this kind of opportunities, because they are structuring for the next 10 or 20 years the plan for investments on the renewable energies. And we know the world is looking for this right now, to change the matrix from petroleum, from gas, to renewable energies. And we want to have these cases here in Paraná, since from the automotive sector, so we can change also this matrix, bringing the companies as battery producers, everyone on the cluster of automotive sector. We want to bring here to have a good field and land of investments. And Copel is the main entrance, because they already have some plans and projects for this, from brownfield to greenfield projects. They are just waiting. The opportunity is open now. So it's a good entrance opportunities to talk to investors and invest with cooperation, to be to have 50% of the share of the investments on solar, wind, and hydroelectric. So it's a very good and high qualified projects.
Excellent stuff. I think we've got a...
We have our guest, Ferroeste, probably Luis, who is with us, our partner in railways.
Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for the invitation to participate. It's a great opportunity to share our thoughts about the railway program here in Parana State. Just a brief remark on the green bond issues. We have been working closely to climate bond initiative. As is, I don't know, Adam, if you know this company. This is a company located in London. They are working close to us. We are using their framework because we want, when you go for auction, to have this asset classified as a green asset, which make it available for green funds. That's our target. So the current status is we are designing this railway fully integrate with the climate requirements. And we are also, along with the CBI, we intend to classify as a green asset. So it will be eligible to use for green funds. That's a brief remark, just I would like to make. This is just to give an idea, a railway, each car eliminates 4 trucks from the roads. So in principle, is from the start is a green asset. That the more we are handling in order to make it even more attractive.
No, excellent stuff. Great to see you collaborating with a London-based organization. As you know, London is one of the world's leading green finance capital markets. So there's definitely a lot of potential for cooperation in this sector. I think
Adam, can I just ask a few more questions for Luis? That it's a good opportunity for investors to know. Luis, when do you think the opportunity is going to be on the table for the investors? And can you talk us through that?
Our schedule shows our auction shall be held on coming first quarter, 2022. So we are in the currently stage to conclude the feasibility study as well as environment studies. And we, according to our plan, we believe we're going to be able to provide the environment license. This is going to be issued by the federal government. We are along with the IBAMA, Infra, Inc., all those guys. This is the plan. That shall be held at B3, the Bovespa.
Nice. Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to add information of a highway concession that is expected on November of this year, also on B3. So, Adam?
No, excellent stuff. I think we'd already chatted around the opportunities for British firms in this Federal Westy program. Extremely interesting stuff and lots we can do together. I think without any further questions from the group, I see that some of the stakeholders have sent over their email addresses and sites for further information afterwards. Including UK Export Finance, who we have Maria, which is the Brazil director, on the call with us. I sent over her email as well for further information about how UK Export Finance can help provide guarantees and loans to British companies, to local companies who import from British companies and organizations. I think on that note, I will passar palavra to Vera from the Brazilian Chamber, just for any final thoughts before we close out today's event.
Thanks very much. Firstly, I would like to present our apologies for the technical problems that we had at the beginning of the seminar. But most importantly, I am very happy that we had such an informative seminar today. And we all know that Paraná is a world reference in agribusiness and in high technology in the fields. But today, we heard about the opportunities in other fields, like tourism, like infrastructure to support the state economy's growth, in ports and concessions in railways. And most interestingly, the opportunity for green assets investments in railways that we just heard from Ferroeste, as well as renewable energies, all that was spoken today, and how Copel can help. So thank you very much for all of you that came with this informative content for the Chamber and its members today. So now I would like to pass it back to you, Adam, for your final remarks. Thanking again everyone for your time.
Thank you very much, Vera. Just before we close out, we've received a last question here from a good friend of mine, Aldo Macri, who is also the director of the British Chamber of Commerce here in Parana State. Question for Giancarlo, where he asks, how do you see the movement for startups in the innovation ecosystem? There's already 2 unicorns in Parana State, with another 3 or 4 on the same tracks. There are some tech hubs in Curitiba, but how about in other parts of the state? What type of benefits are available for tech companies to install their operations in Brazil, i.e. from abroad coming into the local market?
Thank you very much, Mr. Aldo, for the question. Yes, we have some unicorns and 3 or 4 going through this process, and we hope we do to put Paraná in the next level of the innovation. We look to have a good cluster here that the ecosystem talk to each other, and acho que alguém está com o microfone aberto aí, pessoal. And Paraná wants to improve this with some programs. Here in Invest Paraná, we have Innova Invest, which is a public call for startups to show their solution here to Invest Paraná, to trade and promotion solutions, also as well to the other sectors. So we can find this and put this on track, if not Invest Paraná, to the other secretaries or to the other companies here in the state, to help to move on. Also, the bank BRD is helping 32 startups, and they are still providing some resources for these startups to increase. Startups that can seek for the website BRD Labs to more information. Also, Fomento Paraná, it's now arranging 2 types of funds for startups. One, it's going to be tax zero, so it's money on tax zero for startups to start their business. And the second is funds of funds. Will they look for companies, startups that have high potential to grow, and they will make some joint ventures, or some of the other types of investments on these startups.
Excellent stuff. Certainly, I feel that the innovation segment is one of the most promising areas for cooperation. For instance, in the fintech space, London is one of the world's fintech capitals, if not the fintech capital, as well as throughout the UK. And Curitiba and Parana has recently been voted one of the world's most promising fintech ecosystems as well. So just on that point, there's lots we can do together. I think getting close to the time here, and without any further questions, I would just like to thank everyone for taking part in today's talk. I'd like to thank both Invest Paraná and the Brazilian Chamber for helping organizing, for speaking. Giancarlo, thank you very much for the presentation. And again, this webinar will be recorded, so people can access later, and also anyone that wasn't able to take part today. Again, there's so much we can do together. There's a lot of potential, and these type of conversations start with events like today's. So that being said, I'd like to wish everyone a great rest of Friday and a very happy weekend. Look after yourselves, and hopefully this will be the first event of many UK Parana going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.